Is every payday spent excitedly waving in the money, then spending it all, leaving you short for the rest of the month? Have you got into debt from your impulsive spending? If you have, here's 10 strategies to help, so stay tuned. This is Emma for the University of ADHD podcast, and today I'm going to talk to you about overspending or impulsive spending. Tip number 1 then, budget and give yourself spending money. But what you need to do with this one is work out your monthly income and your outgoing, so all of your expenditures, and remembering to take into consideration everything. So your mortgage or rent, energy bills, your water bill, TV license, council tax. And don't forget, you can get a reduction in your council tax if you're a full-time student. Also, things like car insurance, car tax, petrol, tuition fees, bus and train fare, course materials, food subscriptions, absolutely everything. And then if you've got any money left over, set yourself aside some money for if you need it. So emergency money, sometimes things crop up that you're not quite expecting it. Any money that you want to save, take that out of it. It's a good idea to put money aside each month to save, so you're building up an amount of money for any emergencies, any big expenditures. So once you've done all of this, work out what you've got left over and what you can do if there is anything left over, which there might not be. Then what you can do is give yourself some of that money that's left over as money that you can spend on whatever you want. You can treat yourself, and if you allow yourself this amount of money, then you're less likely to spend money that you don't have. So to do this budgeting, you can either just set up a spreadsheet, or you can use apps or software. There's quite a few free ones, or you can even just use the good old-fashioned pen and paper and write it down in a table. It's completely up to you. Okay, number 2, this might not seem related, but practice mindfulness and have good sleep hygiene. So, stress and lack of sleep worsen ADHD symptoms. Practicing mindfulness daily can help with this. Sleep hygiene can help you get a restful night's sleep, and this includes things like avoiding screens for at least an hour before bed, trying sleep meditations, that kind of thing. If you're tired, then you're more likely to engage in impulsive behaviours, so it's really important as well. Number 3, put it in the basket but don't buy. This works with internet shopping. Adding the things that have caught your eye and made you go, ooh, add those to the basket to give you a little bit of a dopamine hit, and then look in your basket the next day. So really try and not give in to the temptation of clicking buy. So you're getting yourself used to adding them. You can go on a spending spree in your mind. It's all in the basket, but then you're leaving it till the next day. So putting the things in the basket will give you that dopamine hit. And then once you look at it the next day, you can reassess this when you're not feeling impulsive. So have a look at the products you've selected and think, do I really need this? Do I actually want it? Can I afford it? And refer back to your budgeted spending amount and remind yourself that once it's gone, it's gone. Doing this does take a lot of practice and discipline though. So if you think that you might slip up and press buy, make sure that you're not logged in and you can take a screenshot of what it is that you want or write it down. If you're in an actual shop, write it down or take a photo of the item on your phone. On Amazon, you can put it in a wish list rather than put it in your shopping basket, which can be quite helpful. Number 4, freeze your bank card. You can do this quite easily using your banking app. So temporarily freeze your card rather than cancelling it and saying that it's been lost or stolen. This means that if you're tempted to use it, it won't work. You have to actually go into the app and unfreeze it. This adds an extra step and gives you thinking time. It allows the urge to buy more time to come and go. So remember that all of these urges, all of these impulses will pass. What you need to get used to is riding them out. So imagine that you're surfing it like a wave. Put as many things in the way as you can before you're able to act on it, and that will help you to allow the urge to pass and it'll go away without you acting on it. Number 5, avoid PayPal. Having a PayPal account is dangerous to the impulsive spender because you don't need to enter your card details and it makes spending money far too easily. And what can happen as well is you can do the thing where you split it into 3 payments. So Klarna is another one. Just avoid those altogether because it's too easy to go, yeah, if I split that up into like 3 payments, then that's not too bad. However, you can then have problems in the following 2 months. You have to really give yourself time to think about it as to whether you can actually afford to pay this over the 3 months. Number 6, cash is king. Cards are an absolute nightmare. You don't get a sense of how much you're spending. By using cash when you're out and about in shops, you're not using credit, so you're less likely to get into debt. Plus, rather than using a debit card, you're more likely to be aware of what you're actually spending by counting the coins, handing the notes over, getting the change, and you know when you're running out of that money. Also, if you are going shopping in an actual shop, you've got that budget that you've given yourself. Draw that out of a cash machine and leave your card at home. That way you've got no choice, then you've got to save the money for bus fare getting home and only spend what you've got. Number 7, stick to a list. You've got to go to a supermarket and get food. Don't go in without a list, particularly if you're hungry. What can happen is you do the Willy Wonka chocolate magic fantasy dream shop where you go in, you've got to get like a loaf of bread maybe and a pint of milk, and you end up coming out with 10 bags of crisps, loads of chocolate, sweets, and things that you don't need, but you've just seen them and they've gone, ooh, and tempted you, and you've bought them. And also with supermarkets, you can also end up coming out with all sorts of stuff. So you could visit the random aisle in Lidl or Aldi, or you could end up going in a supermarket into the clothes section, the homeware section, all the other sections of stuff that you can just end up buying things and you really don't need it. So if you're going into an actual supermarket or a shop, write your list, and the rule is you only buy what it is on the list. With impulsive behaviour, if you set yourself rules that you've thought of beforehand, it's easier to stick to them compared to if you're trying to navigate it while you're actually there in the situation. So by setting the rules before you go, you've got a much better chance. So the rule is you only buy what's on the list, no exceptions, and focus on one item at a time and make it your mission to seek out that thing and that thing only. So try and tunnel vision it a little bit. It can help if you know the layout of the shop to write the list in order of you walking through the shop to avoid having to walk past things that might tempt you. Number 8, log out. So on any website where you can spend money, do not save your card details and log out and don't allow the browser to save any of your login details. You can delete your cookies or login details from the browser if you're already logged into them so that they remember you. So the reason for this is you're making things as inconvenient as possible. So you're allowing that urge to pass. Number 9, lock away your card or cash. You can get lock boxes pretty cheap, and when you get home, try to get into the habit of locking your money and cards away. So, again, you're adding to that inconvenience and adding the extra steps to allow that urge to pass. Or, alternatively, you can ask someone you live with who you trust to look after them, particularly if you know that you're prone to overspending when you are stressed. If you're feeling stressed, putting these things into place beforehand can be quite useful. And number 10, reward yourself for not spending. The reason why people with ADHD impulsively spend and overspend is to get the dopamine hits. So reward yourself for not acting on those urges and give yourself a dopamine hit doing something else. Obviously, you're rewarding yourself for not spending money, so make it a reward that doesn't involve money. And it needs to be instant for it to work. So it could be, okay, I'm allowed a Netflix session, could be gaming time, listening to music that you love, a nice relaxing bath, or doing any kind of hobby that you enjoy. So it's giving yourself that little reward. With impulsive spending, the more strategies that you can put in, the better. So you're not just picking one, you're doing quite a few of these. It's giving yourself that time to not act on the impulse and to allow it to pass. If you're struggling with debt, then get help as soon as possible. Really do try not to procrastinate with this. The longer you leave it, the worse it gets. So speak to somebody who you trust or a local organisation who can help. In the UK, you can contact Step Change or Citizens Advice for free help and advice. If impulsive behaviour is something that you struggle with, I can help. And for February, I am offering 2 sessions of hypnotherapy for £99. For more information about that, pop me an email on emma@rethink-adhd.co.uk or go to my website rethink-adhd.co.uk and there's a contact form on there. Get in touch with me if you would like some help with impulsive behaviours. So for February only, 2 sessions for £99. I'll see you in the next episode.